Hello, my name is Busenur Aslan, and I'm a research assistant in the Department of English Translation and Interpreting at Gaziantep Islam Science and Technology University. I'm going to teach you linking words of contrast in this video. Let's look at the outline of my slideshow. I will tell you linking words of contrast such as though, although, and even though, despite and in spite of, however, and but. Let's look at the meaning of the linking words of contrast. You see here yin yang. Yin yang symbolizes the two opposite things, two opposite sides, such as structure, function, night and day, cold and hot, earth and sky, moon and sun. And you see also here a magnet. One side of magnet can be positive, the green side. The other side of magnet can be negative, the red side. But the magnet links the two opposite sides and gives the interaction between them. There is a link. That's why we use the linking words of contrast. They link to two opposite sides. They link to two contrastive idea. Let's look at the structure of although, even though, and though. And though, although, even though are followed with the clauses, they are used with the subject, verb, and object formation. It is important to remember because after using though, although, even though, we should use the full sentence. And you see that though is different from although, even though, because there's a little difference between though and although and even though, because the though can be seen a little bit informal when we compare to although and even though. Also, even though puts much more emphasis on the contrast when we compare to although and even though, because there's an even here. You see, even gives the meaning on the more emphasis on the contrast. Let's look at the meaning of despite and in spite of and also structure. Despite and in spite of are followed with the phrases. Phrases can be noun, can be gerund, ing form, or can be special names. I don't know. You can use the phrases, but despite and in spite of, don't forget it, are followed with the noun phrases. But you see that in the previous slide, although, though, and even though are followed with the clauses sentence formation. Here, don't forget when you see despite and in spite of, you will add noun formations, phrases. But the fact that there is here the fact that if you use the fact that after using despite and in spite of, because here's of and preposition, if you see preposition, you can bring a ing or a noun, you know. And after using despite and in spite of, if you use the fact that, you should also use the clauses and you should also follow the subject verb formation. Okay, let's look at the structure of however and but. However is a transitional conjunctions and it's used in between two sentences. You see there is a clauses. The sentence is finished period, and after first sentence you can bring however here and you can keep going to construct your sentences. And there's a but. Also, it also gives the meaning of contrast, meaning of the opposite of something. But I'm saying but can be seen a little bit more informal than however. However, we use however in our writing or in our essays. It is formal. Think about. Let's look at the examples. The exam was difficult. I passed it. Although the exam was difficult, I passed it. Now I use a contrast here because if the exam was difficult, how can I pass, right? This is the contrast. Even though the exam was difficult, I passed it. You see the emphasis on the contrast because I use even though. Though exam was difficult, I passed it. I passed it. Although the exam was difficult, and I used a different structure. Let's look at the other example. The girl couldn't succeed her best efforts. If her best effort, this is the positive things, but the girl couldn't succeed, this is negative. There is negative, there is positive, and the linking verse contrasts such as despite and in spite of link to opposite things. Let's see. Despite her best efforts, the girl couldn't succeed. The girl couldn't succeed in spite of her best efforts. You see, there is a phrase, there's a noun, her best efforts. And despite being a successful student, she couldn't pass the exam. You see, I didn't use any full sentence formation. After despite and in spite of, I use phrases. Phrases is a group of words. They don't include any subject and verb. And you see, in spite of the fact that I use, it takes a full sentence formation. She, subject, works, verb, all the time as verb. And in spite of the fact that she works all the time, this is a positive, she works. Her boss fired her, this is negative. It gives the meaning of contrast. Let's look at other examples. He studied, he failed the test. He studied is a positive, he failed the test is a negative thing. But however, we'll link to two opposite things. How? He studied, the sentence is finished, period. However, he failed the test. He studied, you can use double dot. However, he failed the test. He studied, but he failed the test. I use but is a little bit informal here. What have we learned so far? We have covered although, subject-verb formation, even though, subject-verb formation, though, subject-verb formation. And we have covered despite and in spite of. They are followed with the noun phrases. If you use the fact that, you should use the full sentence and despite and in spite of the fact that. And we have covered however and but. However is a transitional conjunction, and you learned that but is used in the informal sentences. Now it's your turn, guys. I put the sentences here. I want you to complete the blanks, and I want you to complete the sentences with using the linking words of contrast. And that's all, guys. And see you soon in the next video. Goodbye.